Hi, dear. I'm a bullying survivor. If you have a little time, please hear me out. Hello, everyone. As a bullying survivor, I'm here sitting at my kitchen table and wrapping my hands around a warm cup of tea, preparing myself to open up about my echoes of the past. It was tough, but it shaped me into who I am today. Let's get started. Primary school. It's funny how those years can shape us in ways we never expect. Back then, when I started grade 5, my parents were separated, and every day was a struggle just to survive. I remember one day I was sitting on the sofa watching my dad mopping the floor. He was crossing the room with the mop from one side to the other. He stopped and asked me if I was missing my mum. I burst into tears. That afternoon I stayed with my mum. I still remember the strong feeling of her smell and the warmth of her hug when we slept together. Children are very sensitive. Their memories are like drawings etched in the sand, vivid and deep, holding on to every detail. Even after many years, these memories can resurface, coming to my eyes like yesterday. This is one of the reasons I have shared my experience with Tears of the Rock authors, to deliver a message to anyone experiencing a similar situation, to remind them that they are not alone. Also, for any parent, imagining your child enduring such hardship is a heart-wrenching thought. To watch them come home with tears in their eyes, questioning their worth because of the cruelty of others, is a pain beyond measure. So, dear parent, don't forget how it feels as a child when you deal with something that is difficult. This might help you to understand your child as a parent now. Anyway, back in my school days, a little girl walked through the doors of her primary school carrying the weight of her parents' separation on her small shoulders. We couldn't afford new clothes, so we made do with what we had. I wasn't the wealthiest kid in class, maybe not even what you would consider middle class either. We were poor. I started to face not only the challenges of financial strain, but also the unkindness of my classmates, who saw my differences as reasons to ridicule. I used to cry a lot after school because of the unrelenting cruelty of my classmates, their mocking laughter, their pointed stares, their whispered taunts. They laughed and jeered, mocking me for wearing something second-hand. As a little girl, I had the desire to look nice one day, so I borrowed a shirt from my sister-in-law because it looked so glamorous and shiny in my eyes as a little girl. That day, my classmates immediately noticed what I wore. I was standing at a school cafe with another girl. 3 mean girls came to me and stood in front of me smirking. Then one of them, named M, pulled the shoulder of my shirt. It had a little detailed tie on the shoulder. She hooked it by her finger, then showed a disgusted face, then said, "Stitched shit." Huh, can you not find anything else for your ugly look? I saw the homeless wear the same rubbish as you. The tie ripped because of her hooking. Then she pushed me to the wall so forcefully that I bumped my head and let go and lost the biscuits I had in my hand. They stomped on my biscuits and left me with their cruel laughter. I must have had tears in my eyes. I couldn't have lunch on that day because the biscuits were the only thing I could afford those days. I remember I was walking through the school corridor with something heavy stuck in my throat. But what hurt the most wasn't the poverty. It was those harsh words of my classmates, the mocking whispers, the laughter at my expense. It cut deeper than any physical pain ever could. The difference between us was I was a very childish girl, one of the nerds. I was never interested in fancy, girly things. Dear me, I still feel something that I can't describe when I talk about it. They called me names and made me feel small, their words like daggers piercing my already fragile little heart. I never forgot how their taunts echoed in my mind long after the school bell rang. Each cruel word felt like it branded my soul, a constant reminder of my own perceived inadequacy. That day was one of the hardest in my life. I felt so alone, so ashamed, but it also taught me something important. The cruelty I faced as a child stayed with me, shaping my experiences and my self-worth as an adult. Years passed, and the pain of that day lingered, shaping the person I became. I worked hard, determined to rise above my circumstances. I poured my energy into my studies and later into my career, striving to create a life far removed from the one that had caused me so much hurt. Eventually, I became a parent myself, vowing to teach my children compassion and empathy, ensuring they never made anyone feel the way I had felt. I tried to be sensitive to their needs and to listen to them more deeply from the bottom of my heart. Recently, we had a class reunion. I saw those same classmates, now adults with struggles of their own. One of the girls, now a mother of three, shared that she was going through a painful divorce and talked about how hard life had become for her. Her eyes, once so full of malice, were now filled with tears. She wasn't fancy or glamorous as she used to be. She looked very different. I could see the weight of her pain, and it mirrored the anguish I had carried for so long. As I listened to her, a part of me wanted to confront her, to ask if she remembered the cruelty she inflicted upon me. But I didn't. Instead, I chose silence, letting the past remain where it belonged. At that moment, I realized forgiveness wasn't about them. It was about freeing myself. I saw the weight of their own burdens and the struggles they faced as adults, and I understood that we all carry our own scars. Though they may never remember that day, I do. I carry its lesson with me forever. It has taught me resilience, compassion, and the profound strength that lies in kindness. I walked away from that reunion with a thoughtful heart, knowing that I had chosen a path of forgiveness and empathy, leaving the shadows of the past behind. I hope to instill these values in my children, listening to them with an open heart and helping them navigate their own experiences with understanding and love. The memories of childhood can shape us in ways we never expected. They can haunt us, but they can also teach us to be stronger and kinder. But in reality, I don't want them to face the feelings I faced. I choose to be understanding for my children, hoping they never have to carry the weight of such a scar, but knowing that if they do, they will have the strength to forgive and to rise above. For this instance, I accepted and chose to share some of my traumatic experiences with Tears of the Rock authors. They described and brought my message to others through their book as I wished. If it helps just one person or inspires just one individual, that is mission accomplished and my purpose to share. The Tears of the Rock, trauma-informed book stories, reach into the hearts of parents everywhere, reminding them that while they may not be able to shield their children from every hardship, they can arm them with the tools to rise above them. And in doing so, they help their children become not just survivors, but thrivers, beacons of hope in a world too often clouded by darkness. People can be mean and life can be tough, but you are stronger than their words, and you are worth so much more than their opinions. Never let anyone make you feel less than you are. Thank you for your listening.